Cindy Bricotto, Stan Turner, meteorologist Dennis Feldgen, and Bob Bruce with sports. The Eyewitness News Update.
And good evening, everyone. Cindy's on vacation. She'll be back on Monday. Topping the news tonight, two stories that come out of a bottle of alcohol. Two lawmen in Hennepin County were arrested after an alleged drunk driving incident, and a Minneapolis judge talks about the treatment he took for a drinking problem. We begin with the law enforcement officers tonight. As we reported exclusively to you tonight on Eyewitness News at 6, two Hennepin County deputy sheriffs have been arrested in connection with an alleged drunk driving case, one that put other motorists at risk. Tom Garrison has more on this.
It happened here just after midnight Tuesday morning. Golden Valley Police spotted a car driving west in the eastbound lanes and swerving. At least two motorists were forced off the road by the car, which according to police records would not pull over. When finally stopped and taken to the Golden Valley Police Station, officers found they had arrested two off-duty Hennepin County Sheriff's deputies. 26-year-old Bradley Scott Allman, who had just completed his probationary year with the department, was charged with driving while intoxicated. Authorities say he refused to take a breathalyzer. A companion, 25-year-old Martin Arambargo, just 7.5 months as a sheriff's deputy, was charged with disorderly conduct for allegedly trying to interfere with the first arrest. The chief deputy of Hennepin County says the department is conducting its own investigation, and if the charges prove true, such actions won't be tolerated.
No one, regardless of station in life, position, deputy sheriff, judge, doctor, political leader, no one is immune from the rules we all must live by.
LaBerge says both men are on administrative leave, with no decision yet whether the suspensions will be paid or unpaid. Regardless the outcome of criminal charges, the Sheriff's Department is reviewing its options.
That could involve anything from nothing to job termination. It would include suspension without pay and, as I say, all the way up to losing their jobs.
Despite the embarrassment caused here by the arrest of the two deputies, the chief deputy of Hennepin County hopes that the department's handling of the matter will show that they're willing to hang their dirty laundry on the line. Tom Garrison, Channel 5, Eyewitness News.
Now the judge. Hennepin District Judge Chester Durda today completed a one-month treatment program for alcoholism. On November the 26th, Judge Durda entered the Maryville Treatment Center in Waverly, and today, before he left that facility, he held a news conference to publicly speak about his drinking problem. Durda said recent news accounts about his problem drinking did not influence his decision to seek help. He also claimed his drinking did not impair his performance on the bench. Durda will follow up his treatment at the Maryville Center with once-a-week sessions over the coming year.
Well, actually, being in treatment, it's only about 10% of the problems that you face and are confronted with in the future. I will be going into an after-recovery program once a week with my wife so that she becomes thoroughly familiar with the problems that I'm confronted with.
With all the years of public service and in the public eye, I think it took a great deal of courage for him to enter a treatment center, and I'm very proud of him.
Judge Durda is also joining Alcoholics Anonymous, and he says that he's most eager to return to his job next Tuesday. By this time tomorrow, a jury in Rochester, Minnesota may be deciding the fate of Carlene Bushkoff. She's accused of killing her husband for his insurance money. Her alleged accomplice, Arthur Lucas, has already been convicted. Today, she took the witness stand and denied all the charges. Frank Mann reports that she's pointing her finger at two other people.
Saying that money meant nothing to her, Carlene Bushkoff blamed her husband's murder on those who testified against her in court. She said on the morning of July 26, she felt something cold strike her face as she slept with her husband Ted in this motel room. She said she heard voices, the voices of Pat Volk and Tim Fraley, friends of hers who allegedly helped plan several attempts on her husband's life. She also said she heard Arthur Lucas come in the room shouting, "Don't kill Carlene." Carlene was shot, but her wounds healed quickly. Prosecutors believe Carlene planned it that way. Lucas was convicted of murder. He is now serving a life sentence.
On cross-examination, Carlene Bushkoff denied every accusation relating to the murder, implying that she was more of a victim that night rather than a participant.
But she could not deny her words on the tapes, words spoken between her and a police informant named Judy Baker.
Well, don't worry about that, Judy. I always go through it. This is the way it was.
Today, Carlene Bushkoff remained an effective witness for her defense. The jury watched and listened as the sometimes inaudible Bushkoff broke into tears, recalling the night of the shooting. She returns to the stand tomorrow. In Rochester, Frank Mann, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Reports on a Marine tragedy and hunger in America are stirring emotions tonight. Those stories coming up. Jason Davis goes to prison to meet a killer who learned the secret of giving. And we explain this site found along a Florida river. All coming up on The Update.
Our last week's sale, biggest of the year, is on now at Towsley Ford Subaru as we go for a volume goal of 400 sales. Follow the searchlight every night till 10 to Towsley Ford Subaru, White Bear Lake.
Crab leg lovers?
Get crackin'.
It's Red Lobster's Create Your Own Crab Legs and Seafood Platter. Start with steaming snow crab legs. Then get choosy and pick any one of 12 seafood favorites.
Get crackin'.
Crab legs and fried shrimp.
Get crackin'.
Crab legs and shrimp scampi. Even crab legs and langostinos. But this offer ends January 29th. So create your own crab legs and seafood platter at Red Lobster tonight.
And get crackin'.
Celebrate with the finest French sparkling wine, Champagne. So good it is deemed to be Cordon Royal. Champagne.
More than $104,000 has been donated to a Wisconsin family that lost 5 of 9 children in a fire last week. 5 children in the family of Amon Sauter died in the blaze, and the family home in rural Withee, Wisconsin was destroyed. 8 extra employees were recruited at the State Bank of Withee to open donation letters which have poured in from virtually all over the country. The family intends to rebuild its home in the next few weeks. And up to 40 families in Buffalo, New York must rebuild their homes after a warehouse explosion devastated part of that city last night. Fire officials sifted through the rubble of an entire city block, which resembled a war zone more than a city. 5 firefighters were killed, 60 people injured, and some 40 homeless families are temporarily staying in a motel tonight. Investigators still don't know if propane was stored in the warehouse, but the owners contend there was none on the property. Authorities are still searching for victims. A lucrative target. That is how a highly critical Pentagon report describes the Marine victims of last October's truck bombing in Beirut. That report says the administration put lives in jeopardy by ignoring worsening conditions in Lebanon, and it blames the military chain of command for failing to ensure the Marines' safety. Woefully unprepared, in the words of the report. It also recalls that when the Marines were sent into Lebanon earlier this year, they were told they were to operate in a non-hostile environment, that the Lebanese army would provide security, that they'd be there for a limited time, and that they would be pulled out if attacked. The report notes that conditions have changed so radically in Lebanon since then that there's an urgent need now to search for other ways of achieving U.S. goals there, but the report stopped short of calling for an end to U.S. military involvement. Another controversial report will be made public next month, a report on whether or not there are people going hungry in this country. President Reagan appointed a task force to find out once and for all, and it now looks as though the task force will report no serious problem of hunger, according to one of its members anyway.
Live by hunger. We mean the same thing, inadequate nutrition. In other words, unsatisfied nutrient requirements. All right. It is not a national problem.
Graham also claims black children may be the best nourished in the nation. There are those who disagree with that. Among those, the mayor of Nashville.
Widespread hungry people exist in this country today, and it cannot be glossed over. It cannot be whitewashed. We have got to face up to it and do something about it. The mayors in these cities, I think, know more about how much hunger exists in the cities than the task force does.
That task force will meet January the 9th to approve a final report on hunger in the United States. During the holidays, people everywhere think about giving, but some people, it seems, give all the time. Such people are, of course, very rare, but Jason Davis found one of them when he went on the road again to Stillwater.
This is not the kind of place one thinks of when you hear the phrase, peace on earth and goodwill to all men. But peace and goodwill can be found here. Take Peter Slight, for example. A long time ago, he exacted revenge on his wife and daughter by killing them both.
I was arrested in 46, December the 2nd, 46. I was sentenced out here 1947, January the 15th.
That was 37 years ago. Peter Slight is the man who has been in Stillwater State Prison longer than any other. A Dutchman who became a U.S. citizen in 1918, he spends his days washing the bars of all the cells in his block. His own cell, even after 37 years, is without decoration. His only and most prized possessions are a tattered Bible and a ledger book. The book is an accounting of almost every penny that Peter Slight has earned while in prison. Page after page of entries shows donations to charities of every kind.
I am helping the poor and needy, so like children that are destitute. This way I've been helping. I've been sending money to Dallas, Texas. I've been sending money to this Oil Roberts. And I've been helping people out like that. And muscular dystrophy, I've sent a lot of money there.
The most Peter has ever earned in prison is less than $100 a month. But all he ever kept for himself is enough to buy toothpaste and other odds and ends. He was sentenced to natural life back in 1947. He was eligible for parole in 1980, but he just couldn't hack it on the outside. But his dreams are still of getting out.
Freedom. Everybody wants the freedom. Everybody.
That interview was recorded earlier. Today, Peter Slight is finally free. He died of a heart attack at the age of 79 on Monday morning. And as a tribute to this remarkable man, for the first time in the history of this prison, they will hold a memorial service tomorrow for one of their inmates, Peter Slight. Jason Davis on the road again in Stillwater, Minnesota.
Here's a great getaway to the sun offer from Midway Chevrolet. Buy any new car, new truck, or selected used car, and Midway Chev will include a trip for two to Las Vegas for 4 days and 4 nights. Here's 2 examples. Just $588 down and $142 a month for this brand new Chevette. Just $588 down and $175 a month for this brand new S10 pickup. And a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. But do it now because the offer ends this week. Only at Midway Chev can you buy and fly. Get to Midway Chev now, across from Ward's in St. Paul.
Edina Hockey Holiday Classic. Come enjoy great high school hockey action at the Edina Hockey Holiday Classic, December 29th and 30th at the Met Center. 2 nights, 4 teams. Edina, Coon Rapids, White Bear Lake, and defending state champs Hill Murray. It's high school hockey at its best. The Edina Hockey Holiday Classic, December 29th and 30th. Call the Met Center or participating schools for ticket information.
The last days of 1983 are big sale days at Slumberland. Everything is marked down low. So come say goodbye to 1983 and get a real good buy.
In Minneapolis, the mayor is asking the city council to delay that controversial pornography ordinance. That proposal would make pornography a form of discrimination, a violation of women's civil rights. It would give women a means to ban movies, books, even magazines, such as Playboy. In a letter to city council members today, Mayor Don Fraser asked for the delay, saying he has some serious doubts about the constitutionality of the ordinance.
The conduct that this would attempt to reach is the conduct of publishing or circulating this kind of material. And so far in the history of this country, we've not attempted to prohibit the transmission of ideas, even if they're bad ideas.
Sponsors of the ordinance say Mayor Fraser is being too cautious. They say the ordinance will have to be tested in court anyway, so the city might as well get on with it. A vote is scheduled for this coming Friday. Residents of North Minneapolis turned out for a public hearing today to protest a potential new waste dump in their area. Many of those opposed contend the dump would foul the air and pollute the north portion of the Mississippi River. They also say their area has become the de facto dumping ground for the city and gets more than its fair share of industrial waste. But a city council committee has approved the site, which is across from the NSP Riverside plant, because it meets all environmental standards and is one of few feasible sites. The city council will make a ruling again on Friday. That'll be a final ruling. And this from Jacksonville, Florida, that gives mobile home, a whole new meaning. Yep, the folks were doing double takes, maybe triple takes, as a 3-story, 85-ton house floated by on the St. Johns River. Took 4 weeks to coax the Victorian-style dwelling from its land base onto a barge. Well, the deal is this. The guy who bought the land didn't want the house, so house mover Philip LaRue said he'd take it, the only hitch being he'd have to move it. So he's taking it the 50 miles up the creek to its new resting place. In the meantime, Phil, don't go down in the basement, pal. Well, I assume that everyone's getting pretty tired of the cold, right? Right. So the question is, will the cold ever run out? Well, here is meteorologist Dave Dahl with the answer. David?
Stan, the cold air is finally beginning to wear a little thin. Let's take a household freezer as an example of the origin of our cold air, which happens to be the frozen tundra of the north. As long as that door remains shut, the air inside has a chance to get good and cold. But if that door opens up, or in other words, our upper winds turn to the northwest, the coldest air comes out. And that's what happened last week, as we all know. But if that door remains open, it'll still continue to produce cold air. It just won't be as cold as that first surge. And that's what's happening right now. The door is still open, and the freezer is beginning to run out. Well, that open door in the upper atmosphere is that same northwest flow that we've been locked in now for the last 2 weeks. It continues to produce temperatures that are about 10 to 20 degrees below normal across a large part of the northern half of the United States. The good news is that that pattern is going to close. The door is going to shut because by this weekend, the winds are going to flatten out across the northern part of the United States, and that might bring our temperatures up to normal. That means 20s for this weekend. Well, currently, we're not even close to normal. It's well below that. Clear skies, 3 below right now. The dew point is now at 13 below, giving us a relative humidity of 61%. West wind at 13 teamed up with that temperature gives us a wind chill of 32 below right now. Definitely not pleasant outside. And the barometric pressure steady at a fairly high 30.19. Today's high managed to make it up to 7 above. This morning's low quite chilly, well below the average at 5 below. And of course, there wasn't any snowfall out at the airport today, unlike a year ago today. That was a major blizzard that hit the Twin Cities, closing the airport for 20 hours, and it left us with 16.5 inches of snow on the ground. There's no snow in sight right now thanks to a large area of clear, dry, high pressure that extends across a large part of the midsection of the United States. That high has been ushering in that cold air. It's a huge one, extending all the way across the Rockies, but right now it's producing northwest winds across the Dakotas and Minnesota, and that's driving that cool air well into the south. Just how far the national highs shows that cool air plunging well into the south and southeast, below normal highs across the northern part of the United States, below zero up across Canada. But as it bumped into that unusually warm air in the south, yes, today they had highs of 80s and even a few 70s popping up in Florida, but when that cold air bumps into that warm air, it produces a lot in the way of shower and thunderstorm activity. They've had severe thunderstorms across much of the southeast throughout the day today. Heaviest activity right now is occurring across central Florida, and also back in that colder air, it's producing some freezing rain still across northern Alabama, a lot of heavy snow up in New England. Meanwhile, here in the midsection of the country, we're dealing with dry, high pressure, but it is cold for this time of the year. By tomorrow morning, that large area of high pressure will be locked in right over the midsection of the U.S. That'll keep us in a northwest flow, but then by Thursday night and Friday morning, that flow will turn to the south, and that'll start to gradually warm us up. But maybe some more moisture will flow in because there's a strong system now hitting the northwest. That may play a part in our forecast later on next week. The forecast in detail for the Twin Cities is calling for clear, windy, and cold tonight. Unpleasant weather out there with lows of 8 below, downtown areas to 15 below. In the outlying spots, we'll have northwest winds up to 20, creating those wind chills near 45 below. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, still breezy and cold. Highs of 2 to 7 above with west winds up to 15. Wind chills that could be as cold as minus 20 to minus 35. The outlook for Thursday night into Friday, though, Stan, you're going to like this. Mostly clear, gradual warming trend. Highs possibly reaching 20 on Friday. The extended outlook even gets better with highs near 23 on Monday. And that is pleasant. That is right around normal for this time of the year. I think our average high is now about 21, 22.
Okay, we'll settle for normal. Did you close your freezer door?
Yeah, it's finally closed.
I want you to spoil your lutefisk, huh? Okay, Davey, thank you. Well, we have a question tonight. Does the business for which you work put social responsibility over profit? Well, there are more than 100 businesses, all of them small, that are trying to promote that kind of attitude tonight. They call themselves New Wave Capitalists, and Pat Milan reports that they hope to put pride back into workmanship.
In the 60s, many of these people were out on the streets protesting the war in Vietnam. They were also against the capitalist system. 15 years later, they themselves have become capitalists, but they're hoping to change things a bit. Over 100 area businessmen and women have started the New Wave Capitalist Coalition, and Webb White is one of the founders.
It stated simply says that in order to run a business properly, you have to put your social responsibilities in front of the profitability of that business. And it's a situation where people are normally tried to be put first in front of the profit and motivation.
Terry Anderson is a New Wave capitalist. His woodworking talents were used at Stillwater's Lowell Inn. In room 38, for example, exquisite hand-carved woodwork is the pride of the hotel. Tonight, Terry was awarded recognition as one of the most outstanding New Wave capitalists of 1983. That is because he has resisted chances to mass-produce his woodwork. His decision to work slowly, so fine detail survives, falls right into the description of New Wave capitalism.
We try and establish a very close relationship between myself and the customer on every item.
The movement has the support of St. Paul Mayor George Latimer, who even had a proclamation for the group tonight. No large businesses are members of New Wave capitalism, but the group hopes to attract them. And some members tonight admit it's a lot easier for a small business to put social responsibility over profit because in many cases, a small business can afford such a decision. But what is happening here has to sound good, considering the push is for substance and style over schlock. Pat Milan, Channel 5 Eyewitness News, St. Paul.
Sorry to say, we have several sad notes to report to you this evening. The first St. Paul native, William Demarest, died last night of an apparent heart attack. He was 91 years old. The gravel-voiced Demarest played in hundreds of films and TV programs. He was probably best known to you, though, for his role as Uncle Charlie in the comedy series My Three Sons. He'd been under a doctor's care for several years. He passed away at his home in Palm Springs, California. We've just learned that Dennis Wilson, a member of the Beach Boys singing group, has drowned tonight in California. No details of his death are yet available, but sheriff's investigators in Marina del Rey have positively identified his body. Again, Beach Boy Dennis Wilson, a drowning victim. And a golfing great died on a course in Texas today. Jimmy DeMeritt suffered a heart attack at the Champions Golf Course in Houston. DeMeritt won 3 Masters tournaments during his playing career. Jimmy DeMeritt, dead at the age of 72. Oh boy, enough of the bad news right now. Coming up next, this week's edition of the KSTP Sports Reel. Hopefully that'll pick things up. And the North Stars hang on for a win tonight over Toronto. Bob Bruce standing by with the stories next on Eyewitness Sports.
You don't have to be Ben Franklin to discover great automotive savings. Now you can discover year-end savings at your Datsun dealer's Great Discovery Sale. Discover the selection of Nissan sports cars, the Pulsar NX, and the all-new 300ZX. Discover what a great deal you can make for yourself if you come in now. Discover the quality. Discover how much you can save because these cars will be in someone's driveway by this weekend.
See Datsun North, Terry Fellman's Imports, Viking Datsun, Kroska Datsun, Royal Datsun, and Miller Datsun.
Folks in Red Lodge, Montana aren't surprised to see a little snow, but they were surprised when America's most popular snow thrower hit town one day to help them dig out. Even in snow this deep, the Toro S200, 200 electric, and S140 all had power enough to move hundreds of pounds a minute. Even more impressive, they had power enough to move the folks of Red Lodge, who went out and made Toro their #1 choice too.
See your Toro at these participating dealers.
At the Pan American Ocean Resort Hotel, you can work on your tan around our Olympic-sized pool, dine in our sumptuous restaurant, shop at the nearby exclusive Val Harbor stores, go fishing on our own Bertram 38, play tennis, take in the races, golf at the club, or do just what you've always wanted to do, nothing at all. The Pan American Ocean Resort Hotel.
For information, call House of Travel, Minneapolis or Edina.
Look at who's back from Memphis, his hometown. Memphis, I said it right. How cold was it?
It was. I actually got below 0 down there, believe it or not.
That'd burn to a halt, wouldn't it?
No sun tanning this year in Memphis,
boy,
that's
no.
for sure. Well, hockey game tonight out at the Met. Big hockey game. December slump? Well, you wouldn't know it from the North Stars' performance at the Met tonight. They have not been playing well this past month, and tonight, well, at least for the first 2 periods, they took out some of that frustration on Toronto. But as Channel 5's Rob Lear is going to tell us live from the Met right now, they slipped a little bit in that 3rd period. Rob?
They certainly did, Bob. You know, the fans got their money's worth because there was not one but two hockey games played here at the Met. You talked about it, the first period and a half, the North Stars dominate. They outscore the Leafs 6-0. In the last period and a half, the Leafs outscore the North Stars 6-2. You put it all together, North Stars win in a shootout, 8-6 here at the Met, so they pick up 2 points. Stars get their goals tonight in bunches. Here we are, first period on the power play. Craig Hartsburg's shot deflected out front by Brian Bellows. 31 seconds later, as I say, Stars just really scored as they rolled them together. Dan Mandage with the puck, ultimate surprise that he shoots, and he does in fact score. And the North Stars played a great first period. The shot clock will reflect that. A club record, the least number of shots against, only 1 for Toronto in the opening 20 minutes. Stars now second period. Al McAdam gets the puck to Neil Broughton in the slot right there. It was that kind of goal-scoring night for the North Stars. Quick wrist shots, everything seemed to find the back of the net. 9 seconds later now after Broughton's goal, Willie Plett with the puck. He shoots, he scores. But after that, the North Stars took a bit of a break defensively because the Leafs outscored them 6-2 in the last period and a half, but they win it 8-6. The North Stars over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Only 1 game left in the 83 regular season. That, of course, against the New York Islanders here, Bob, on Saturday night. But the North Stars, they win it. That was the chore that they had to accomplish because they, again, have not played well in December. 8-6, the final score here at the Met.
And it's always good to win within the division. Thanks, Rob. Elsewhere in pro hockey night, some other scores. The Rangers in Chicago, that game delayed because of a major brawl, a big fight. We'll have details on that tomorrow. Boston leading Calgary 4-1 in the second period. Gopher basketball coach Jim Dutcher can't be too pleased with his team's performance tonight, but the Gophers did get a win, 60-56 at the University of Detroit. The Gophers got off to a great start, scoring the first 10 points, but then they proceeded to commit 25 turnovers, and Detroit made a game of it. The bright spot, Dutcher was looking for some offense from his front court, and he got it in the person of Jim Peterson. Peterson scored, get this, 20 of the Gophers' first 28 points. He finished 12 of 13 from the field and had 28 points. A great night for him tonight. Mark Wilson added 13. The Gophers play at Montana State on Friday. Scores from college basketball tonight. Kentucky, number 1 or 2, depending on the poll you look at. They beat Purdue tonight 86-67, and Illinois over Missouri 66-60. Well, you want to know what I missed the most while I was on vacation? You guessed it, Wednesday night, and that means another KSTP Sports Reel. Yeah. So, let's just go right ahead now and steer our way into this thing for this week's Sports Reel. Here we go. Why are the Broncos out of the playoffs? Because their quarterback cannot tell who the center is. That's a lot better, John. That's the man right there. Oh, go on. That doesn't really happen. Now, this is called getting the jump on the quarterback. Trouble is, the offense doesn't take too kindly to it, and those offensive linemen, they can be mean.
Oh, boy, I just couldn't imagine getting too close to one when they get angry.
Boy, you're right. Things have really been happening in the NBA lately. You betcha. Here are some of the candidates for the fraternity I Flunka Dunka. Here's another one. How can you miss a shot like that? Incredible. The key to defense, never turn the ball over. That's exactly what this guy is trying to do, but never argue with a man in a uniform and a gun on his hip. It's just a little... It's also, this is the shot of the week. Look at it. Did you see that? It goes the wrong way, but he made a lot of points for the guy on the scorer's table. In hockey, and it could set a lot of records, that shot, by the way. In hockey, you know you have a weak slap shot when the stick goes further than the puck goes. That's when you got to get out. Whether you have another mind-boggling KSTP Sports Reel. What did you think of it this week?
I really don't know. I'm in a state of bewilderment. My legs are like rubber. I just can't comprehend this here.
I can't comprehend this here either.
Well, I can't either. I tell you, the comment I get is the Sports Reel is too short. We got to stretch that baby out a little bit. It's
we're
funny.
planning on an hour-long special towards the end of the year.
Oh, great. Just make sure you put the Three Stooges in there again. We'll see you. Good night tomorrow night. Bye-bye.